Okay, guys, it's Old Man G here, back again with another video we're live. It's a live stream. It's a Red Devil Studio live. It's just me here, but we are gonna have we're gonna have all the crew again this Friday. Oops, sorry. Okay, guys, it's Old Man G here, back again with another video sorry guys, just quickly. Sorry about that. Just see sound. Is that okay? Is that okay, everybody? Is that alright? Any static at all? Is that okay? Is that alright? Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, so yes, it's Old Man G here, back again with video for we're live streamed for Red Devil Studio. Sorry about the initial technical issues. I am having issues with my mic, and hopefully they will be resolved. So hopefully you can hear me now, and there's no problems. Basically this is a video for Premier League predictions. Actually, we are going to have a couple of guys in the studio on Friday, where we're going to basically review the previous games and look forward to the next upcoming fixtures. So stay tuned for that. I really want to keep this quite engaging as well, so please post in the comments. Please like, share and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Just want to get that interaction really. It's going to be quite a chilled show. Literally it's just going to be going through all the 20 teams in the Premier League from top to bottom, giving you where I think they'll positionally finish, in my opinion. And just a bit about the teams, etc. So it's not specifically Manchester United. Yes, I know we've got one game this season, so I'm going to be a bit unbiased based on that. But basically, this will be what I would say is my Premier League sort of final table prediction, based on just coming into the season and just based on the teams and the squad and the manpower, etc., etc. So yeah, guys, like I said, please just keep this interactive and engaged. Just let me know what you think as well in the comments as well. If there are any teams in particular that you want to even have a conversation about, if they're even fans of other teams like Wolves, Chelsea, Leicester, etc., please get involved as well. And we'll be great. We'll be great. We can have a really good conversation. Hopefully, with more people involved, we can have a really good conversation about other teams and where they'll start. So where do I start? So I guess it's the big question. I think, do I start from top to bottom? I think it's a lot easier, I would argue, starting from top to bottom than bottom to top. So I will start with the teams, the people who I think, the team who I think is going to win the Premier League, and then go all the way down to 20th in terms of the team who I think is going to finish bottom and obviously is going to be relegated. So I think we'll start at the top and then see how it goes. Thanks to people who are tuning in, really appreciate it. So yeah, we'll hope just more people come in and we'll take things from there. Who do I think will win the Premier League? My personal opinion, who do I think will win the Premier League? In my personal opinion, I think it's going to be Liverpool. And that pains me to say that. Really does. But I actually think that Liverpool are going to win the Premier League. Now, why do I think Liverpool are going to win the Premier League? A few reasons. I think that even though Pep wants to win this season a third time in a row, I do think that his preference is going to be Champions League. His preference is going to be CL. He will want to win the Premier League. That's what he wants to win. So there's no static, by the way, guys. Just in case if you think, just let me know if there's any static. Sorry. So because I think that Pep will be so focused on wanting to win the Premier League, the Champions League, I think there'll be an element of that. I think that will distract from the Premier League, is the point. And the other thing as well is that Liverpool, and this is one thing that people don't get about Liverpool, and I said to one of the mates on REDEVILSTUDIO Live last Friday, was that Liverpool are essentially unbeaten at home since about, it must be at least 2 seasons ago. So Liverpool have an amazing home record. Now, of course, they could draw, obviously. When you have that amazing home record, especially because that tells me that Liverpool are not going to lose against City at Anfield. So you know that Liverpool will drop points at Anfield. But you also know that Liverpool could potentially win at the Etihad. You know? So the point I'm just trying to make here is that there is a possibility that, horrible possibility as a Manchester United fan, that Liverpool will actually win the Premier League. People say they haven't strengthened. I would argue that Gomez and Oxlade-Chamberlain, who were injured all last season, who are key players for them, as well as a fit Naby Keita, is essentially strengthening. They already have, and although people might say that Divock Origi is not, for example, a good player, I just think that what is he good at? I don't know. Mate, I don't know what these are. Fuck you do. I don't even know what you're even saying, man. So please, clarify what Idike you're commenting upon. Please clarify what you mean exactly. So, and then we'll. But for now, I'll have to hide that. Sorry. Right. So, just going back onto it. So yeah, post in the comments, but may the comments be readable and legible, and let me know what's going on. If there's any static, like I said, you can't hear me, then let me know, please. Thank you. Right, so let's go on. So, like I said about Liverpool, what I said is that I just think that they will obviously really, really want to win the Premier League. Liverpool, I think, have more motivation on playing now than ever. And people go around and understand, they were only a point behind City. Only a point behind City. It wasn't like it was a gaping hole, they were only a point behind City. So please, bear that in mind. There's not much else other than the fact that I think that, the pressure will also be on City to actually perform as well. And so I think the fact that Liverpool will not be... They did chase, they were on top for quite a bit, and obviously they let an 8 goals lead, which was bad. And a lot of what I'm saying will obviously be dependent on injuries and stuff. So arguably Man City have the greatest squad depth to a certain extent. But what I would say though is that if Liverpool keep their starting 11 fit and then some, they've probably got leaks. So I put Liverpool as first. That's my long-winded explanation. As unfortunate as that is as a Manchester United fan, I put Liverpool first. The second obviously goes to Manchester City. I won't dwell on it because I've kind of sort of talked about how I felt that why City would be first. And like I said, I feel that obviously Pep Guardiola is a serial winner, and he will want to win. Or thanks to everyone who's watching, by the way. Really appreciate it. We've got 5 comments. Really appreciate it. A little bit of static. I'll see if I can sort that. I'll see if I can sort that out a bit. Sorry, guys. Hopefully, is that okay? Is that all right? Okay, let me know if that is okay in the comments. Would appreciate it. So let me get going. Okay, let me keep going. Sorry guys, if there's really bad static, then do let me know. So I do need to sort of sort out my mic, but appreciate it for the feedback. Anyway, so we go on. Second obviously is Manchester City. I think that they will, because their priority will be the Champions League. Although Pep is a serial winner. A bit better, that's way better. Okay, thanks Team Takake, really appreciate it. It's a bit better, that's way okay. I'm going to stay here and speak from now. Yeah, okay, fine. So basically, Man City will be second because I think they'll prioritize the Champions League. Even though Pep is a serial winner, I think that I just think that a 3 might be too much. Even though they look ridiculously good, and they have the squad depth, just seeing what happened in December in particular, in December months, and momentum, and also the mentality as well, I just think they might struggle. So I'm going to go City for second. Third. Now this is the difficulty. Where do I think will be third? Who will be third? Who will be third? For the sake of, I think the third. I think third will be Spurs. Yeah, I'll say third will be Spurs. But again, a lot of this will be based on. I don't think that Spurs will be able to do what they did in the Champions League again. And because Spurs will not be able to do what they did in the Champions League again, I think that their resources will then go into the domestic competitions. So as a result, there'll be obviously less injuries. Hopefully, you'll get Spurs, you'll get Son, you'll get Lucas Moura who's in form. They've signed Dembele and obviously Sessegnon as well to strengthen the squad as well. So they have I would argue a strong enough squad when they're all fit to be able to certainly to potentially compete for the title. I don't think they'll win it, but potentially compete for the title. But certainly at least to solidify top 4. And obviously this squad got to the Champions League final, so definitely good enough. And with Dembele there, who will bed in eventually, I think they have strengthened the squad. And Pochettino is a very good manager. So from my point of view, I think that as far as I'm concerned, Spurs are probably a good third, a good solid third place anyway. Fourth is the tricky one. I think fourth place is very much the tricky, really, really, really tricky, because it's going to essentially be between Arsenal, United, and Chelsea. Let me know what you think in live comments. Do you think it's going to be United, Arsenal, and Chelsea? Really, really let me know what you think. But for me, I think that I would say that I'm going to go for United. There's my bias there. I'm going to go for United. I'm going to go for Manchester United. Now, why am I going for Manchester United? It's not just based on the 4-0 drubbing that we did of Chelsea, but I'm going for United simply because I'm a United fan. That's the first thing. That's the bias there. But I think also because I just think that Chelsea, and this is compared to Chelsea and Arsenal in particular, Chelsea's transfer ban, in combination with Lampard's naivety or maybe Premier League inexperience, I think will cost them the top 4. I don't think that means that Lampard should be sacked. I think it should be given time. We'll speak about that a bit later. But I just think that even though people say Solskjaer is inexperienced, what a lot of people seem to forget is that, two things. One, he's already had half of a Premier League behind him already. Okay, so he's not completely inexperienced. He's been managing the Premier League for a while now. Okay? The other thing as well is that people seem to forget is that that Mike Phelan, who is assistant manager, who's had a lot more. He's obviously been with Sir Alex Ferguson as assistant. Sorry, 2 seconds, guys. And he's also been managing. He managed Hull, that didn't go so well. So the reality is that he's got experience with him, especially in that assistant position. So I don't think that that it's fair to compare Ollie and Frank Lampard completely. From an Arsenal's point of view, what I would say about Arsenal Football Club, I mean, we'll see in time. Although I think they've strengthened their positions, I'm still not convinced Unai Emery is tactically a good manager. And there's enough that I've seen on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from last season to say that I would argue he's more tactically. Because to be honest, when you look at the games that we lost, a lot of us we played badly. I wouldn't say it was an issue. There were maybe 1 or 2 games where you could say maybe tactically we got it wrong. The majority of the time it was whether we played badly because we're tired or we made mistakes. It wasn't because the tactics in themselves were wrong. Whereas I think that at times Arsenal lost their games last season because tactically, um, Emery didn't sit up right, and in particular away from home. And that's why I think it's going to be the downfall of Arsenal potentially this season, is that their away record is not great. And I just think that, I just think that that could cost them. And that's why I think United will get fourth place. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. The comments. Fine. Just I read that comment again. Sorry, guys. Okay, so fifth and sixth. Okay, so as far as fifth and sixth goes, fifth place I think will go to Arsenal quite convincingly. It'll go to Arsenal simply because, obviously, the reasons I've said why Manchester United I think will pip Arsenal, but I think also because Arsenal Football Club, they have strengthened. They will obviously win their home games. I think they'll be quite strong at home. And I also think that, again, the issue with Chelsea is that the issue with Chelsea, is that I think that Chelsea just the transfer ban. I think this is the first time that Chelsea will be. Sorry, guys, just moderating. It's only me moderating here. At the end of the day, this is the first time really that Chelsea, who I think will finish sixth, Chelsea will. They just won't have. They won't have a big signing, won't have a big name in terms of Eden Hazard, and this is the first time that they're really using youth. This is very different to how Chelsea have been for maybe a decade plus. They've always added, they've always signed, they've always bought big. People want to live in London. They've always got money to spend. And the fact that now they're relying on it, and they've always got managers to burn. So the fact that they're essentially relying on a big, essentially inexperienced manager, I just think is it's a risk for Chelsea. Essentially, it's a very, very, very big risk for Chelsea. And I just think that that risk will be too far, and they won't be able to. They won't be able to do it. It's as simple as that, really. Next, so who do I think will finish? Who do I think will finish seventh after that? Okay, so the top six pretty much explains itself. Who do I think will finish seventh? I would argue. Especially after seeing the Wolves and Leicester game, I shouldn't let that bias come in, but I would say Wolves. Wolves is my seventh placed team because I think that they're defensively solid and they have a very good mid. They're just good all around, So the really big issue with Wolves, which is why I just thought they won't be able to break into the top four, is that they have. The way the Wolves seem to play is that they seem to sort of, I wouldn't say traditionally soak up pressure, but they do hit teams on the counter attack. So they do defend very well, hit teams on the counter attack. That's similar to what Manchester United were doing on Saturday, and they do that well. The problem is that you can't do that against lower teams, and so it's not so uncommon for Wolves to have, say, lost against the Cardiff or something like that, because those teams are the ones that end up doing it. And I don't think Wolves are the type of team that are comfortable being in possession a lot. That might change this season, but for me, the big reason why they're probably not going to break into something is more the losses against, you could maybe argue, the teams in the lower division, than their performances against your Watfords, your Leicesters, your Cities, your Liverpools, and stuff like that. I just think that's what will cost them in the end. Popper Pump, sup? Great to see you in the chat. Really appreciate it. So shout out to you, man. Popper Pump, shout out, man. Next, so who do I think will be next? So obviously we're in seventh place now. So who I think finish eighth? I think that will go to Leicester. Okay, Leicester ahead of Everton. Eighth place to Leicester City. they've got a solid squad. In fact, it's a difficult between Leicester and Wolves, but I just think that there's not that much in it, if I'm honest. And Yuri Tillemans and Didi, obviously Vardy's still there, is a good signing. But I just wonder, having not really signed a good, solid replacement centre-back, whether Leicester will be able to cope without Harry Maguire. They've got Ben Chilwell and be fine, etc. Although he might leave in January, potentially, if Chelsea get him, if their transfer windows, I'm not sure. But the point I'm trying to make is that I just think that from a defensive point of view, they could potentially struggle with that loss of Harry Maguire. Although I think midfield wise they're fine. Team Kagawan, so many good signs out. This is the thing. People keep on saying it's a two-horse race, and it could still be a two-horse race because City and Liverpool look fantastic. But I do think this is the thing. I think that the thing about football is that ultimately managers, players, eventually you'll find a way to be able to play against a team. There's some teams where you never know, like West Ham, banter side. Let's be honest, But generally speaking, there'll always be people trying to figure out how to play the best way to play against a team that will work for that individual team. Newcastle last season against City, they just defended really, really well and got one opportunity. And there'll be some teams that do that. They'll try that. Some teams like Crystal Palace may try quite a bit of pressing, to try and get City to make mistakes. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting league. It's going to be an interesting league, definitely. So yeah, what was it on? Oh yeah, 8th. So I said 8th place. I said 8th place was Wolves 7th, Leicester. Yeah, Wolves 7th, Leicester 8th, Everton 9. Now this might surprise people because people are like, Everton, they bought Moise Kean. They've got Alex Iwobi. They've got different things. Again. Their manager, Silva, I'm not 100% convinced. Again, yes, I know he battered Man United towards the end. It's great, and he stepped up the game, but I'm still not convinced that tactically he is good enough. And for our whole 38-game season, now we'll see because he has invested squad, but I certainly think there's a lot of pressure on him because he's been given a lot of money this transfer window to continue to build an Everton. And if he doesn't deliver, certainly in the first half of the season. I mean, Everton aren't the type of club to just sack managers anyhow anyway. But I do think that, Everton have been given a lot of investment. I think that if he doesn't deliver, then people obviously start asking questions, especially given that, because I thought Moise Kean, those types of players were great. So the fact that he's been given like Moise Kean, Alex Wogan, etc. to strengthen his side is very, very, very good, So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But right now, I predict Everton will finish 9th. That's where I think will finish 9th. Who do I think will finish 10th? 10th. I'm gonna go for Bournemouth. I'm going to go for Bournemouth this season. I think that Bournemouth. I'm going to go for Bournemouth. I'm going to go for Bournemouth because I do think they're due a solid season. I think you saw the likes of Wilson, you saw Fraser, David Brooks, all those players. Ake, I think, is still there as well. You saw all those types of players there last season. I think growing into their stride. I think that the highlight was then when they battered Chelsea, I think 4-0. That was amazing. So the fact that they're still, despite the fact they've had very little resources, still in the Premier League, I just think is just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Shout out to all those who are watching, by the way. Really appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe to REDEVILSTUDIO. And continue to support this channel. We really appreciate it. What I would also say is that Eddie Howe is a very good manager, and Eddie Howe's been in the Premier League long enough to know how he will get 40 points and then some, while also playing good football. That doesn't mean I don't think it will be competitive, but I think he's got the experience to get them on the line and certainly to get them in a good position, especially as I think some of the players that he's had as I've aforementioned, are coming into form. So yeah, I would definitely say that for a solid 10th maybe for Bournemouth. 11th place and 11th to 13th could be anyone's guess, to be honest. But for me, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna give Crystal Palace. I'll say Crystal Palace. Even though they struggle and even though they've lost Wan-Bissaka, who's a very good defender for them, they still have Zaha, who will get them goals. I don't think their defense is completely terrible without Wan-Bissaka. And Hodgson has shown that he can play again good football, that's easy on the eye, but also grind out good results. You know, he's got the experience as well, and the Crystal Palace the experience as well. So I think they'll make a good solid. I think they'll have a solid enough season. But with Crystal Palace, it's anything. I think a lot of these teams I'm talking about would also be flirting with the bottom 3, bottom 4 as well. You know, but you know, that's just how it is. Next we're going to 12. Again, please comment in the description, guys. Let us know your thoughts. Keep this interactive if you can. Next one, 12th. Aston Villa. I'm gonna go wild card. I say Villa. I think that Aston Villa, with the investment they've had, with the previous Premier League experience that they also had as well, I think they're in for a shout. To be honest, I think Aston Villa could really, you know, yeah. I just think that I don't want to be biased based on the performance, obviously, the weekend against Tottenham, but I just think that I don't think they're going to be a different Fulham. You know, I just think that they'll be more organised, and they're going to give it a go. And I feel that out of all the promoted teams, I think they've got the better chance, of staying up, in my opinion. So I think they're next. Who'd be after that? Let's think. Who'd be after that? Let's think. After Aston Villa, I would say Watford. I think we're on 14 now. I think maybe 14. Yeah, Watford. I'd say Watford. I would say that. Even though I said they lost one, but I think that they will come through. I think they've got enough good players. I just think that possibly maybe, even though they have the De La Feas and Dini's, etc. I just do wonder, because it's gotten a bit. I feel like teams around them have gotten a bit more competitive, and I feel they've strengthened in the transfer window. I'm not entirely sure that Watford have strength. They've got decent players, but I just don't think that they've strengthened. And I think that might be a problem for them. Following that, West Ham, even though they've strengthened, I'd argue they've strengthened quite a bit. I just think that I don't know. I just think that West Ham are West Ham, and possibly this might be Pellegrini's last season, because I just think that they just don't have enough, in my opinion, to really be able to challenge the top 10, let alone get into the top 10. To be honest, I could be wrong, and I think they will win games, but I just think that I just think that it's I just can't see them, unfortunately, doing well this season. In my opinion, I just can't see it. Moving on, we're almost down the list, and then we will, because there's not that many tuned in now, so which is a shame. So I do like interacting with you guys, and I appreciate it. So I won't make this a really long show. Maybe it's the time I'm doing it, so maybe I'll try and do them at earlier streams at 7 as opposed to 9:30. So that's what we'll do for the Red Devil Studio Live this weekend. It'll be a 7 o'clock stream. Hopefully we'll be able to get more of you guys on. You just want to hear your opinions and thoughts and stuff. It'd just be really good to hear from you guys. Right, next. So after obviously West Ham, who do we have left? We have Norwich, Newcastle, Sheffield United, did I say Brighton and Burnley? Yeah, Brighton and Burnley. Yeah, those are the 5 main that we have. Okay, so I think under West Ham, I would give it to Burnley. I think I'd say. Sean Dyche knows how to get the job done, and I think that he will. That's really all there is to it. They have a total defense. The only thing I fear and why I haven't put Burnley further up is because of them selling Tom Heaton. Yes, I know they scored 3 goals this weekend, and my decision isn't based on those, but I do feel that Tom Heaton really helped them last season, and I think against teams that don't capitulate like who they're playing against, Southampton, I think don't capitulate against them. I think they might struggle. So that's where they are. I have mentioned Southampton, by the way, so I need to mention Southampton. So after Burnley, then I would go Brighton. I know I've mentioned Brighton already. Then after Brighton, Sheffield United, I think. Sheffield United. And then Sheffield. No, I'll go Southampton. I go Southampton because I think that Southampton with Redmond and Ward-Prowse going into the season, I think they will just about survive, but I think they will have a relegation battle. If we're talking about teams that I think are going to go down, so these will come into the last 3, it will probably be, for me, the 2 promoted in Sheffield United and Norwich, even though I know Sheffield United got a point, and Newcastle. I think that Norwich, yes, they've been up. Mine was just that I just feel that I just don't think that they just have enough of the Premier League. That's my observation. I could be wrong. My observation is that they don't have enough in the Premier League. Sheffield United, likewise. I'm not sure. I don't sure about their transfer spending, but I just feel like both of those teams, I just don't feel have enough of the Premier League, and it will struggle. But it will be close. Newcastle are there because I just think that Steve Bruce is a massive downgrade on Rafa Benitez. I think there's already a lot of discord in the Newcastle fan base, and Steve Bruce tactically, again, as a manager, is just not good, to be honest. He's got a few teams relegated, and I just think that, I think it's going to be difficult for Newcastle, and I won't be surprised if next season it's Newcastle and Sunderland meeting each other in the Championship. So there we go. So just a brief recap. You have to probably listen to everything again if you want to go for the full 20. But I would say that the top 4, to cover the top 4, my top 4 are Liverpool first, City, Spurs, then Manchester United in 4th place, and the bottom 3 I think going to be relegated. It's going to be Sheffield United. It's going to be Newcastle. In my opinion, it's going to be Norwich City. Those are teams I think are going to be relegated, with everyone in the middle. So yeah, that's basically what I think personally. Thanks for listening, guys. Like I said, just anyone that's tuned in, really appreciate it. Please like and share and subscribe to Red Devil Studios as we continue just making videos and pushing content and doing a whole lot of different things. We're going to hopefully try and continue doing our live streams in terms of the PES streams and FIFA streams as well, because you guys seem to really like that as well. Also, another big shout out to Fantasy Premier League as well. We do have a Fantasy Premier League for Red Devil Studio. There'll be a card in this video as well. And again, just to reiterate, there is a prize. It is an official Manchester United 2019-2020 shirt in your size, whether it is. So please like that video, subscribe to the channel, and join that Red Devil Studio Fantasy Premier League. The winner will get an official Manchester United 2019-2020 shirt. So please stay tuned for that. It'll be good. Other announcements as well, guys. We're obviously doing a Premier League fans Red Devil Studio Live episode 4 on Friday evening at 7, where we'll be reviewing the games from last season, including our predictions, and then previewing the games afterwards. It's good banter, it's good chat. We'd really appreciate you guys all just getting involved in the comments and just having good discussion as well. It'd be really greatly appreciated. That's about it, guys. Stay tuned for Manchester United videos. I think this week, before I finish, like I said, we'll probably do our Wolves preview because we're not playing until Monday. So probably do the Wolves preview either on Saturday or Sunday. And like I said, the Red Devils will be on Friday. There probably isn't room for many Manchester United unless there's really big Manchester news coming up. And maybe we might do a video on Matteo Darmian or further signs. I don't know. I think some of the other videos we're going to probably put more related to, hopefully, fingers crossed, to more like online stuff like PES and FIFA and stuff like that as well. So, because it's weird, now the transfer window is closed, there's not that much to really talk about really. The season's going on, so people are not really much interested in general Manchester United news or discussions anymore, which is a shame because I am a Manchester United, I like to talk about these things, and I want to get involved in the Manchester United community, and I hope you guys want to too. So yeah, thanks again for listening. Thanks again for everyone that was listening. Really appreciate the support. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devils. Follow us on Twitter at WeAreUnitedX. Have a nice evening, guys, and cheers.